Good day, friends. I want to remind you today that no matter what you are facing, no matter how impossible the situation seems, you have been designed to defy the odds. You are not limited by your circumstances, your past, or what others say about you. People may tell you, you're not qualified, you don't have the resources, you've made too many mistakes. But let me tell you this, when life says you can't, faith says you will. There are countless examples of people who were counted out, told they didn't have what it takes, but they refused to give up. And guess what? They rose higher than anyone imagined. Maybe today you're facing a mountain. It looks too big, too strong, too impossible to climb. But remember this, the size of the mountain doesn't matter when you serve a God who moves mountains. When David faced Goliath, the odds were stacked against him. A young shepherd boy with a sling and a stone against a mighty giant. But David didn't focus on the size of his enemy. He focused on the size of his God. And what happened? He defied the odds. I want to encourage you today. Don't let the obstacles fool you. What seems like a setback is often a setup for something greater. You may say, but I don't have the talent. I don't have the experience. I don't have the connections. But let me remind you, you have something greater. You have the favor of God. Favor will take you where talent and experience cannot. Favor will open doors no one can shut. Some of you are battling sickness. The doctors have said there's no way, but let me remind you, you have a healer. The report may say one thing, but faith declares another. Some of you are facing financial struggles. It looks like you'll never break free. But let me tell you, lack is not your destiny. You were created to prosper, to thrive, to be a lender, not a borrower. No matter what comes against you, you are not a victim, you are a victor. You were created to rise, to overcome, to defy the odds. So today, stand strong. Lift your head high. Believe bigger. Because when you step out in faith, the impossible becomes possible. You will defy the odds. Too often, we look at our circumstances and think, this is just the way it is. I don't have the right background, the right connections, the right opportunities. But the truth is, you are not defined by where you come from. You are defined by where you are going. It's easy to feel stuck when things don't seem to be working in your favor. Maybe you were raised in a difficult environment. Maybe you didn't have the support or resources that others had. Maybe you made mistakes that set you back. But let me tell you this, what happened to you is not greater than what is within you. Think about a seed planted in rocky soil. It may seem like the odds are against it, but if that seed has the right determination, if it keeps pushing through the cracks, it will rise, flourish, and bear fruit. In the same way, you may feel like your circumstances are too difficult, that the odds are too stacked against you, but there is something inside of you that is stronger than what's around you. Time and time again, history has shown that people who seemed to have no chance, people who were told they would never make it, rose up and defied every expectation. There are stories of individuals born into poverty who went on to change the world. There are people who were counted out, overlooked, and underestimated, but they refused to settle for a life defined by their circumstances. You may be in a difficult season, but seasons change. Just because you are in a tough place now doesn't mean you are going to stay there. Doors can open suddenly. Opportunities can come out of nowhere. One shift, one breakthrough, one moment of favor can take you from the back to the front. So don't let your present condition define your future potential. What you see today is temporary. You were created to rise higher, to break barriers, and to go beyond what anyone thought possible. Your circumstances are not the ceiling, they are simply the starting point. Keep believing, keep pushing forward, because your greatest days are still ahead of you. Fear whispers, you're not good enough. It tells you, what if you fail? What if things don't work out? Fear magnifies obstacles and makes them seem impossible to overcome. But faith speaks a different language. Faith says, I can do all things. I am equipped. I am empowered. I am more than a conqueror. Every great achievement begins with faith. Not faith in circumstances, not faith in human reasoning, but faith in something greater than what you can see. When you choose faith over fear, you unlock doors that seemed impossible to open. Think about a child learning to walk. At first they stumble, they fall. If they listened to fear, they would never try again. But something inside them knows they were created to walk, and so they get up and keep going. That same resilience is inside of you. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not talent or background. It's the choice to keep moving forward despite the fear. Fear will always try to hold you back. It will tell you that the business idea won't work, that you're not qualified for the promotion, that you'll never overcome that challenge. But faith doesn't focus on what's against you. It focuses on who is for you. When you walk in faith, you may not have all the answers, but you trust that the right doors will open, the right people will come, and the right opportunities will find you. Imagine an eagle standing on the edge of a cliff. It has never flown before, but something inside tells it to spread its wings. It doesn't know exactly how it will work, but it leaps anyway. And as it does, the wind catches beneath its wings, lifting it higher than it ever imagined. That's what happens when you step out in faith. You may not see how it's all going to come together, but when you take that step, when you push past the fear, you will find that there is something greater carrying you, something stronger lifting you. So today, don't let fear have the final say. Faith is greater than fear. Choose to believe, to step forward, to rise above. Because when you do, you'll see doors open, miracles unfold, and mountains move in ways you never expected. Obstacles are not there to stop you. They are there to strengthen you. Too often when we face difficulties, we think, maybe this means I'm not supposed to move forward. Maybe I should give up. But the truth is, the very challenges in your path are the stepping stones to your greatest victories. Think about a butterfly. Before it can spread its wings and fly, it has to struggle inside the cocoon. The resistance it faces while breaking free strengthens its wings. If someone were to cut the cocoon open to make it easier, the butterfly wouldn't survive. It wouldn't have the strength to fly. In the same way, the struggles you face are not there to weaken you. They are there to prepare you for what's ahead. Look at the stories of those who have achieved greatness. Rarely do they have an easy path. They faced rejection, setbacks, and moments where it seemed impossible. But those who rise to the top are the ones who refuse to quit when things got tough. They saw obstacles not as stop signs, but as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to trust in a greater plan. Maybe today you are facing a closed door. You applied for the job, but they said no. You invested time and effort into a dream, but it seems like nothing is working. It's easy to think this must mean I'm not meant to succeed. But what if that closed door is actually leading you to something better? What if that delay is positioning you for something greater than you imagine? A detour is not a denial. Just because the path is difficult doesn't mean the destination isn't worth it. Sometimes obstacles come not to stop us, but to reroute us to something even better. What seems like rejection today might actually be protection, guiding you toward the right opportunity at the right time. Remember, diamonds are formed under pressure. Trees grow stronger when they endure storms. Muscles develop when they are pushed beyond their limits. In the same way, your struggles are making you stronger. The very obstacle that seems impossible today is shaping you for the breakthrough that's coming tomorrow. So the next time you face a challenge, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, ask, what is this preparing me for? Because if you keep moving forward, if you refuse to give up, you will look back one day and realize that every obstacle was actually an opportunity in disguise. When you face a mountain in your life, a challenge that seems too big, a dream that seems unreachable, or a situation that looks impossible, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. You might think, there's no way I can overcome this. It's too much, too strong, too big. But let me remind you, the size of the mountain doesn't matter when you serve a God who moves mountains. Mountains represent obstacles, setbacks, and barriers that try to keep you from reaching your destiny. But here's the truth. Mountains are no match for faith. You don't have to climb them on your own, figure everything out by yourself, or have all the resources in place before you move forward. When you step out in faith, you activate something greater than yourself. There are countless stories of people who faced impossible situations, sickness with no cure, financial struggles with no way out, dreams that seemed too far gone. But because they refused to give up, because they chose to believe, the impossible became possible. The mountain that seemed unmovable suddenly shifted. Doors that were locked suddenly opened. And what seemed impossible suddenly became reality. Think about a small seed. If you place it under a rock, you might think it has no chance. The weight of the rock is far too heavy. But if that seed has life inside of it, no matter how long it takes, it will push through, crack the rock, and break through to the surface. That same power is inside of you. The key is not to focus on the size of the mountain, but on the power that is available to move it. Too often, we let fear magnify the obstacle. We replay the negative reports. We dwell on how difficult the situation is, and we talk ourselves out of believing. But faith works the opposite way. Faith doesn't deny that the mountain is there. It simply refuses to let the mountain be bigger than the promise. If you're facing a mountain today, don't let it intimidate you. Don't let it convince you that you're stuck, that you'll never get past it, that this is the end of the road. Mountains move when faith speaks. The moment you declare, I may not see the way, but I know a way will be made. I may not have the resources, but I know the right doors will open. I may not feel strong enough, but I know I have strength beyond my own. That's when things begin to shift. So don't let the mountain define your destiny. You were not created to camp at the base of the mountain. You were created to move it, to climb it, to conquer it. Stand firm, keep believing, and watch how the impossible becomes possible in your life. Too often people look at their qualifications, background, or resources and think, I don't have what it takes. I'm not talented enough. I don't have the right connections. But let me remind you, favor can take you places that talent, experience, and hard work alone cannot. Favor is when things happen that you couldn't make happen on your own. It's when doors open that should have stayed closed, when the right people show up at the right time, and when you receive blessings you never even expected. It's not about being the most qualified. It's about being chosen, positioned, and lifted beyond what human effort alone can accomplish. Think about a person applying for a job who doesn't have all the credentials but still gets hired. Or an entrepreneur who starts with almost nothing but ends up building something incredible. What's the explanation? It's favor. Maybe you're facing a situation where it seems like the odds are against you. You don't have the degree, the finances, or the connections. But the good news is, you don't need all that when you have favor. One moment of favor can do what years of striving cannot. Think about a seed buried underground. It looks like nothing is happening, but at the right time, when the conditions are just right, that seed pushes through the soil and starts to grow. That's how favor works. You may feel overlooked, buried under difficulties, but at the right time, things will shift, doors will open, and you will rise. Favor is what causes you to stand out. You might be in a room full of qualified people, but favor puts your name at the top of the list. You might not have the experience for the promotion, but favor will put you in a position you never expected. You may not know how the finances will come together, but favor will bring the right opportunities to fund your vision. The key is to walk in confidence, knowing that favor is working on your behalf. Don't disqualify yourself because of what you lack. Don't shrink back because you don't feel good enough. Favor is not based on who people say you are. It's based on what's already inside of you. So stop worrying about who's against you or what you don't have. Favor will open doors no one can shut. Favor will take you further than education, background, or human effort alone ever could. Walk boldly, expect great things, and know that what is meant for you will find you. The right doors will open, the right people will show up, and the right opportunities will come at just the right time. Life may throw challenges your way. You may face setbacks, disappointments, and moments when it seems like everything is against you. But let me remind you today, your destiny is not one of defeat, failure, or struggle. Your destiny is victory. You were not created to barely get by, to live overwhelmed by problems, or to stay stuck in a cycle of difficulty. You were designed to rise, to overcome, and to walk in victory. No matter what you're facing, no matter how big the obstacle seems, remember, you are not a victim, you are a victor. Too many people go through life feeling powerless, thinking they have to settle for whatever life hands them. They believe that because they were born into hardship, they have to struggle forever. That because they've had setbacks, they'll never rise again. That because things haven't worked out so far, they never will. But that's not true. A champion isn't someone who's never faced difficulty. A champion is someone who refuses to stay down. A warrior isn't someone who has never been knocked down. It's someone who gets back up time and time again. That's who you are. Think about a palm tree in the middle of a storm. The winds come, the rain beats down, and the tree bends almost to the ground. But when the storm is over, the tree doesn't stay bent. It rises back up, stronger than before. That's what happens when you choose victory. The storms of life may try to push you down, but because of what's inside of you, you have the strength to rise again. Maybe today you're facing a tough time in your health, your finances, your relationships. The situation may look bad, but here's the good news. It's not over. This is not your final chapter. Just because you're struggling today doesn't mean you'll struggle forever. Just because something has delayed your progress doesn't mean it has denied your destiny. The key is to stop seeing yourself as defeated. Stop focusing on the problems, the mistakes, or what didn't work out. Start declaring victory. Speak it over your life. Say, I am more than a conqueror. I am strong. I am equipped. I was created to win. When you start speaking victory, you'll start seeing victory. You may not feel strong right now, but strength is not about how you feel. It's about what you believe. You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you realize. You have more in you than you even know. So shake off the doubt. Let go of the fear and step into your destiny. You were created to win. You were designed to overcome. You were born for victory. Too often, people settle for less than they were meant to have because they don't believe anything greater is possible. They think this is as good as it gets. I'll always struggle. I'll always be overlooked. I'll always have just enough to get by. But let me remind you, you were not created for a life of mediocrity. You were created for more. If you're going to step into the fullness of your destiny, you have to start believing bigger and expecting more. What you believe determines what you receive. If you expect small things, you'll live a small life. If you expect struggle, you'll stay stuck. But when you dare to believe bigger, when you expand your vision and start expecting more, that's when doors open, opportunities come, and favor follows you. Think about a child in a toy store. A loving parent tells them, pick whatever you want. The child has the freedom to choose something big, but instead they reach for something small, afraid to ask for too much. That's how many of us live. We don't want to dream too big, believe too boldly, or expect too much. But the truth is, there is more available to you if you'll just have the faith to believe for it. Maybe you've been struggling for so long that you've accepted it as normal. You've been disappointed before, so now you've stopped expecting things to change. But let me encourage you. Don't let past disappointments limit your future expectations. Just because it didn't happen before doesn't mean it won't happen now. Just because you've been waiting a long time doesn't mean it's not on the way. Sometimes the delay is not a denial. It's just a setup for something even greater. Think about a farmer planting seeds. He doesn't plant a handful and expect a tiny harvest. He plants generously, believing for an abundant crop. In the same way, your expectation is like a seed. When you believe bigger, you are planting the seeds for greater things to come. The key is to see beyond where you are right now. If you're facing a financial struggle, don't just pray for enough to get by. Believe for overflow. If you're dealing with an illness, don't just hope to feel a little better. Expect full restoration. If you have a dream, don't just wish it would happen. Declare that it will. You have to stretch your faith. Don't limit yourself by thinking small, by settling, by assuming that this is all there is. Start expecting more, believing bigger, and preparing for increase. Because when you do, you'll see opportunities come out of nowhere. You'll experience breakthroughs you never imagined, and you'll step into the greater things that were meant for you all along. Your past does not determine your future. Too many people let their past define them. They dwell on their mistakes, their failures, and the things that didn't go their way. They think, I've made too many wrong turns. I've missed too many opportunities. I can't rise higher because of what I've been through. But let me remind you, your past is not your destiny. Where you've been does not dictate where you're going. What you've done does not disqualify you from what's ahead. The past is a lesson, not a life sentence. It may have shaped you, but it does not have to limit you. Think about a ship. No matter how far it has traveled in the wrong direction, the moment the captain decides to turn the wheel, the course changes. It doesn't matter if it's been drifting for days, weeks, or even years. A new direction starts with a single decision. In the same way, your past may have taken you down the wrong path, but the moment you decide to rise up, to move forward, and to believe in a new future, everything shifts. Your mistakes are not bigger than your purpose. Everyone has made wrong choices, had setbacks, and faced disappointments. But the difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck is the decision to move forward. You can either let your past be an anchor that keeps you down, or you can use it as a stepping stone to rise higher. Think about a butterfly. Before it can fly, it is a caterpillar crawling on the ground, limited in what it can do. But when the time comes, it enters the cocoon and everything changes. It transforms into something completely new. When it emerges, it doesn't crawl like it used to, it flies. That's what happens when you let go of the past. You step into a new version of yourself, one that isn't bound by who you used to be. Maybe you've been holding on to past failures, regrets, or missed opportunities. You've been replaying what went wrong, thinking about what could have been. But here's the truth, you can't move forward while looking backward. If you keep focusing on the past, you'll stay stuck in it. But the moment you release it, the moment you shift your focus to what's ahead, you step into new possibilities, new blessings, and new opportunities. So don't let yesterday's mistakes keep you from tomorrow's victories. Don't let what happened before define what's possible now. Your past is over. Your future is waiting. It's time to move forward, step into the new, and embrace the incredible future that is still ahead of you. You may have faced obstacles, setbacks, and moments where the odds were stacked against you. But let me remind you today, you are not defined by the challenges you faced. You are defined by the victories you will win. You were not created to live in fear, to be limited by circumstance, or to settle for less than you were meant to have. You were created to rise, to overcome, and to defy the odds. So shake off the doubt, silence the fear, and step forward with confidence. The obstacles may be great, but the power within you is greater. The mountain may look impossible, but it will move. The dream may seem too big, but it is still within reach. This is your time to break barriers. This is your moment to walk in faith. This is your season to rise above every limitation and step into the destiny that was meant for you all along. So go forward with boldness, knowing that nothing can stop you, no challenge can hold you back, and no force can keep you from the future that is waiting for you. You will defy the odds.